A knock in the dark. On the frontier planet of Carvan, the nights were long and cold. Samuel Carter, a former soldier from Earth, lived alone on a small farm. His life had become a quiet routine after years of war. But one night, a knock shattered the silence. Opening the door, Samuel was met with a sight he would never forget. A tall, graceful alien woman stood there, her crystalline skin fractured like broken glass. Her eyes, glowing with soft luminescence, held a desperate plea. Clinging to her were two small children, their fragile bodies trembling in the cold. "My name is Liranna," she spoke into his mind through telepathy, her voice gentle but heavy with sorrow. "We seek refuge. Please, we have nowhere else to go." Samuel hesitated, studying the trio. The galaxy had grown colder toward refugees like the AR Solani after the Concord War. "Come inside," he finally said, stepping aside. A broken family. Liranna and her children sat by the fire, their alien features illuminated by its warmth. She told her story, her thoughts weaving into Samuel's mind like a sad song. Her mate had died in a mining collapse, leaving her stranded on a planet hostile to her kind. She had fled with her children, hoping to find safety in the lawless frontier. "Why come to me?" Samuel asked, his voice soft. "Because you are alone, like me," Liranna replied. "And because here we can disappear." As days passed, Samuel grew fond of them. The children's laughter echoed in his home, a sound he had not heard in years. Liranna worked beside him, her touch delicate but capable. Yet danger loomed, the plea for protection. One evening, after the children had fallen asleep, Liranna approached Samuel. Her face was calm, but her thoughts were laced with fear. "Samuel, I must ask you something difficult." He set down his tools, sensing the gravity of her words. "What is it?" "Marry me," she said plainly. Samuel was stunned. "Marry you? If we are bound by human law, we will be protected. No one can take my children. I will not be a burden. I offer myself to you, not for love, but for safety." Samuel felt the weight of her words. He had never expected love again, and yet he saw something in her eyes. Hope, trust, and perhaps a longing deeper than survival. "I don't need a wife," he said, voice trembling. "But I need a husband," she replied, her voice breaking. The attack. Before Samuel could answer, raiders came in the night. They were slavers, drawn to the isolated farm by the presence of AR Solani refugees. The farm erupted in chaos, plasma rifles lighting the dark. Samuel fought like a man possessed. He defended Liranna and her children, his old soldier's instincts returning. Together, they held the attackers at bay until dawn broke and the raiders fled. In the aftermath, Samuel knelt by Liranna, who had shielded her children with her body. He grasped her hand. "I will protect you," he said, his voice raw. "Not as a duty, but as family. If you'll have me, I'll be your husband." Tears glimmered in her eyes, and she nodded. "Yes." A new dawn. The ceremony was simple, held under Carvan's twin sons. Liranna's children stood by Samuel's side, now calling him father. As they exchanged vows, it was not a union of desperation, but one of shared resilience. Samuel taught Liranna the ways of the farm, and she taught him the language of her people, an unspoken communication of emotions and thoughts. Love grew slowly but deeply, like roots intertwining beneath the soil. The family they built. Years passed, and the farm flourished. Visitors would sometimes arrive, seeking refuge or trade, and they would find a strange but beautiful family. A human man with weathered hands, an AR Solani woman whose skin sparkled in the sun, and children who glowed with the light of two worlds. When asked how they came to be, Samuel would smile and say, "It all started with a knock on my door." Their story became legend, a tale of love born not from romance, but from courage, trust, and the unyielding desire to build a future in a cold galaxy.